thank you, Emily, for coming back on. You were the first one to come on when we started doing the online recording of our Cooking Together show almost a year ago now.
I remember.
I know,
And
it's crazy.
you gallivanted around the world and came back to the US for just enough time to pop in. When you do go to Thailand, I hope you can find someone to cook with some Thai food with us, because that's my favorite food.
Cow soy. We want cow soy.
But
I do
we've
know how to
had
make
quite a
soy.
few people asking from other countries who log in regularly. We've got 3 countries right now. Where was I going? Oh, we have people request macaroni and cheese. They said, oh, we buy it in the box or we buy it at a restaurant. But in other countries, people don't make it.
Yeah.
So
That's
what
all
is,
American kind of
why
thing.
did you pick this recipe, and what is mac and cheese?
Okay, so the great thing about, and I'm gonna go ahead, I've got my pot of water on already,
Oh,
kind of ready to go.
that's a
I'm
good
gonna go
idea.
ahead and
I'll start
turn
mine
it
too.
on. Yeah, I haven't started
Well,
it yet, but I'm gonna go ahead
I
and
need
turn
to
it
put
on
water in first.
and add some salt to it, just so while we're chatting, it can kind
Why
of
do you add salt?
get up. Because it just helps flavor the pasta a little bit, and some
Okay.
people say it helps it boil faster.
I don't
but
want to
know
be
if
a
that's
I don't
true.
want to be a nag, but you need a spaghetti pot, not a skillet.
You know, I only have 3 pots.
Well, you need to get a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
more.
I have the 4-quart pot. This is actually, I've taken, oh, let me change the direction of the camera.
You need to use the 4-quart pot for the pasta.
So this one, right, this pot, I actually took the handle. It has a long handle that goes on the other side. I took that off of it.
It's
But
just
this is
not
like,
deep. It's just not deep enough for
oh, it
pasta.
cooks pasta much quicker than the shallow pan.
The
So I've got
idea-
this one.
the
I've got a
idea of-
4-quart pot, and then I've got my
but the
little.
idea of pasta is to have a large volume of water and not so much pasta in cooking.
Really?
Yeah, that's why
I always try to make it so it sucks up all
No.
the pasta
No.
water, so I don't have to throw the water away.
Well, that's not the way it's supposed to be, I think.
Okay. Anyway,
Talk to your Italian brother-in-law, or whoever it was that's cooks Italian.
okay.
And the other thing about adding salt is it tastes differently when you cook with salt versus adding it at the end.
Adding it.
So I
Gotcha.
ask everybody whenever the water people put salt in, why they do it, and most people say that's how I've always done it. And nobody really gives a real reason. They say, I think it's because it makes it boil quicker. But
I don't put
I've yet
salt
to have
'cause I
someone
don't use salt.
actually have
I think it
a
makes
real
it give
reason.
a little bit of flavor too.
I think
But yeah, so
it does boil
this
it faster.
this recipe is nice because it's really simple and
Well,
like
Emily,
relatively
really
easy
simple would be just macaroni with some
from
cheese
a
in
box.
it.
It's really easy. It's really simple for a nice homemade mac and cheese. I'll say that.
All right. So
And it is a
a
baked mac
random
and cheese, so
question to the
actually
backseat gallery. Can you make macaroni and cheese with any other pasta besides elbow macaroni?
I would think so, yeah, because pasta comes in about 500
Is
different.
it better? Because I went to the store and was going to buy elbow macaroni, but I decided I was going to buy the
Oh, yeah.
tricolor rotini.
That's perfect.
And last time you had the little kitty stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right. I had the kid ones with the little pasta shapes.
The ship and the roller skate or whatever it was.
All right. Emily's being patient with us with this backseat
Yes,
cooking.
and it's gonna be a baked mac and cheese as well. So I think I'm gonna wait a little while to preheat my oven because it gets so hot in here. But it will be a 350-degree Fahrenheit or about 175 Celsius for your oven. I looked that up
And
beforehand.
What do you think the difference between baked and just, you know, in the pot? Does anybody
I don't
have
know,
any
but
idea?
I've seen some recipes where you like do the milk and some butter, and then you mix in the cheese and kind of make a cheese sauce, and then mix it in with the cooked pasta. But with this one, you don't have to, like, you just mix in the shredded cheese and then put it in the oven. So you don't have to. It's kind of just a little bit of a simpler process. I
Okay,
guess.
or I found out why you need a big pot.
Okay.
It says, a large pile of pasta added to a small pot of water will cause the water's temperature to drop quicker than a larger pot of boiling water. This will leave your noodles sitting in warm, non-boiling water too long. The result, clumpy, sticky pasta.
There you go.
So there is a reason. I didn't know what it was, but that
My,
apparently that's the reason.
I happen to have a pot it's 7 layers of stainless steel with an aluminum core, that the actual lid of the pot is the exact same temperature at the bottom, because that aluminum core spreads it out. So
That's all good.
I don't
It's
have
just-
any hot spots, and usually you put stuff in there, it doesn't stop boiling, but we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, now I have breadcrumbs and Parmesan to put on the top. So that's another reason, or for baking it, is you can put a nice little topping on it and get it kind of crispy on the top.
And so, all right.
Okay, and actually, I think while we're waiting for the water to boil, so I kind of listed some optional things to add to your mac and cheese. I'm gonna do onion and garlic sauteed. If you have bacon, you can make bacon and chop it up and put it in there. You could put ham in there. You could put rotel, mushrooms, like
All right,
really
Peanut
anything.
Gallery, see if you can throw out something you think shouldn't be in mac and cheese.
There we go. Anything that your heart desires.
I think anything can go in there that you
Okay.
like.
I guess let's go down the list of ingredients that we do have to have. Obviously,
So we need cheese, milk, salt, pepper, garlic, paprika, spices. The cheese soup if you're using it, although it's not necessary. And then
I
sour
have never
cream
bought cheese soup
or
ever
Greek
in my
yogurt.
life.
And I'm using Greek yogurt.
And
I'm using
it was right
almond milk
next to the
too.
cream of mushroom soup.
I'm using almond milk because we don't buy regular milk, so I'm just gonna use
Now
that.
I have bought this before. This is in the Mexican section, and it's just
Oh.
like a can of liquid
Sauce.
cheese.
Yeah, this soup stuff is a little bit different, but
And like, yeah, the soup stuff has, it's like cream of mushroom soup, but with cheese flavor. So,
I'm trying to get my camera. Maybe I should just physically put my camera.
all right.
About this.
So let's see. I got the cream of, see, my water's already boiling. Just like
Oh,
that.
mine's not boiling yet.
So let me put it on low. I got my pasta. I got my can of cheese soup, yogurt,
That's good.
sharp cheddar. I got some
Yep.
milk. I was gonna put mushrooms. I forgot to get fresh ones, so I have a small can of mushrooms I'm gonna throw in there, and then definitely some garlic and onions.
Yeah, so
I
I'm getting my onions started right now, like chopping them. And my water it looks like it wants to boil. It's getting close.
Maybe if you had salt in it enough. No, I didn't put any salt in. I try to not cook with salt at all.
Me too.
Gotcha. I
Now,
try to
one
use
thing I
minimal
am going to
salt.
do is from a cooking class a few weeks ago, I have this whole pound of butter and I can put the whole thing in, but I'm going to put a lot.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that to fry my
Onions.
onions. This is when we did the chocolate. It's still got the chocolate sprinkles. That's not mold, that little green spot. That's from the green sprinkles we used. Remember
A
that?
likely story.
When we made the chocolate. But I don't know. I don't think I've ever made mac and cheese without adding a fat to it. like a butter and oil.
Yeah, I think
This
adding some
recipe
butter is
didn't
a good
call for
idea.
that.
It didn't, but I think adding some butter is a good idea if you have butter.
But I mean, like this
It's not gonna
cheese
hurt.
soup, it says modified food starch, wheat flour, and then vegetable oil. So I mean,
Oh,
it's high in vegetable, and then sour cream and
I can put that.
sugar and salt. So all right, let's fry some onions and garlic. You guys like, I think this would probably taste good with, I don't know. I bet you could put just raw onions in it because you're baking it. No?
I think
You wanna-
sauteed is better. Okay, my water's boiling.
I would saute onions if I was gonna add them.
And I'm
So
doing,
saute, not caramelize?
Well, either one, but I don't think I'd put raw onions in there.
so I'm
I know
doing
it's-
half a pound of mac and cheese, so everybody knows.
And the
And I'm
baking,
doing
it's already,
elbow.
everything's already cooked, so the baking is like Emily said, it's kind of like so you can put toppings and sort of have a crust on the top, but everything's already cooked when you put it in the oven.
So this recipe says 16 ounces of cheese, 16 ounces of macaroni, and both the cheese and the macaroni out there come in 12-ounce containers. So if I'm opening two 12-ounce containers, my whole recipe is going to be 24 ounces.
It's 16 ounces. It's half a pound of macaroni. Or
Oh, half a pound.
half a pound.
Oh, so that's only,
Unless you want to make like a big, like 9 by those big size.
It won't
Wow,
fit in
that's
his it won't fit in his little pan.
well, I've got the,
Yeah,
this is what I was going to bake it in my 9 by 12.
Yeah, unless you want like a big thing of it, I just do half a pound of macaroni.
Or
I've got my own, and I'm gonna cook mine al dente since, so not cook it too soft since we're gonna be baking it. And I'm gonna check it after like 6 minutes.
All right, my water quit boiling because I turned it down. That was silly.
you might want to put a little more water in there.
Think so? Yeah.
Like I've got these big garlic.
Yeah.
Oh, I like elephant garlic. I guess if I make, I already opened 2 packages of pasta.
I don't think you need 2 packages of pasta.
Or just do 1 package. All right. So cutting onions, I'm heating my butter.
I also looked up why people put salt in the pasta water, or
Well, everybody says it's to make it boil quicker.
no, it doesn't have anything to do with that. What it is the salt gives flavor to every little piece of pasta.
That's, yep,
That's the reason.
exactly.
Not about that's it.
Where's my garlic? Look at, I've got this one. This is looks like a mini onion, but this is a
That's
whole head
one
of
clove.
garlic.
One clove. Wow.
An elephant
Yeah, this
garlic.
is my 1 clove. It's like the size of my thumb.
Yeah, it is big.
So I'm using 2 big
This
ones.
is the size of my head. No, just but all right.
My onions. Yeah.
So nobody came up with something we shouldn't put in.
Yeah, what should we not put into mac and cheese?
I mean, I have a friend that he swears by putting cinnamon in his mac and cheese.
Interesting.
And then
Yeah,
other
I
ones
guess
that
whatever you like. Yeah.
always puts smoked paprika.
Yeah, I like paprika.
And the smoked paprika will give it a nice color too.
Yeah.
Just like, I remember years ago that I got given some cheese from the local store I was volunteering at that had just like expired, but it was like this French cheese that, of course, you know, it was already moldy. So, I mean, how can moldy cheese expire? And I decided I was going to make a cream sauce, and I did. And my neighbor, I had a guy working out at the farm, and he was baling hay on our farm. And afterwards I was like, come in, have some. My mom invited him in for, you know, some lemonade. And while I was at it, I was just like, hey, I just made this macaroni and cheese. And he was like, that's the best dang gravy I ever had on macaroni in my life. Just like,
I like that.
it was just like this
Cheese
really
gravy.
expensive,
Cheese gravy.
yeah, this really expensive French cheese that I had made this.
Well, a lot of cheddar doesn't have coloring in it. So if you put, you know, if you put that paprika in there, it'll give a little color to your dish.
What do you call it? Yeah, I mean, isn't a lot of cheddar, well, I mean, the really
Like white
good
cheddar.
ones, they add.
Most cheddars they add coloring to it. Most cheddar is actually white. It's not naturally yellow. So,
remember when we did that cooking class before, we used this annatto seeds, and that's what they color cheddar with. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Achiote in Spanish.
Yeah, because I have like cheddar. I have cheddar in my fridge right now, and it's white. Doesn't have color.
Or like the really high quality cheddar, they what do you call it? Color it with turmeric. I've seen that before.
So I'm adding some salt and pepper and paprika to my onions, just FYI, and then I'm gonna add my garlic to it.
Now that we got you all excited about the different flavors, I put all that onion in there, and I didn't have the pan on, so it has been not frying, but now it's on.
Oh, and I'm gonna go ahead and preheat my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Should have done that a little bit ago, but that's okay.
All right.
I meant to do it kind of during my cooking, but
experts recommend 1 tablespoon of salt per gallon of water in your pasta water.
Okay.
And even though that's a lot of salt, of course, it doesn't all, you know, most of it stays in the water. So.
Okay, I think I'm gonna give my pasta another minute or so.
But again, when I grew up, we didn't drain the pasta. We usually just added flavors in. We just made like a 1-pot meal. So I grew up learning how to make pasta where you just put just enough water in there and you didn't drain it. So you didn't you use less energy.
It's okay, but that's not the way the Italians do it.
Yeah, I mean, real pasta, what you do is you drain it, and then you make the sauce separate, and then you toss it when you're ready.
That's right. And you hold back some of the pasta water to use in your sauce, because that'll help your sauce stick to your pasta. So most people, they just pour the water. Most people, they just pour the whole pot in the colander, and of course all the pasta water goes down the drain. But in theory, you're supposed to take like a cup or some amount of the pasta water before you drain the pasta, so you can add it back in, like with a tomato type sauce.
Hey, or you want to stir your pasta.
Keep it from sticking together. Now, one
All
thing we
right, so
did.
here's a nice view of my onions and garlic.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
You're way ahead of me. It helps
Yeah.
if your pan is on and you
That
don't put
did
like
help. That
such a,
helped speed things up. Yeah.
and you also don't put such a big onion in.
I only put
Um,
half of an onion, about like this size in mine.
Now, one thing
War's
I
gonna
did-
have pasta and onion.
And I'm grading my pasta, just FYI. Mine is al dente. Al dente, how do you say it?
Also, your
Now, one
pasta will
thing when I was
continue
growing
to
up,
cook.
we used to always put a little oil in the pasta.
Well, when you're using a small pan like you are, oil's a good idea because that pasta is gonna stick together. I usually add some too. Some oil.
But I guess, I mean, you know, salt is starting to get a bad name that you're not supposed to use so much salt, but I think oil is too. Just, you know, we put oil in everything.
Well,
They're
they
starting
also
to get
say that
pots and
remember
stuff like,
the salt, there, you know, even though you put a tablespoon of salt in your pasta water, that doesn't mean you're gonna have a tablespoon of salt in your dish because most of it's gonna stay in the water when you drain it.
All right, so I just threw a
honestly,
couple tablespoons of butter in my hot pasta, and I'm just mixing it in. So I think the butter is a good idea. Maybe I'll add a little more.
Okay, I
I like to measure with my heart with things like butter and garlic.
measure with your heart. That's a good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that. Measure with your heart.
and then I'm gonna add in my cooked onions.
I'd
and
measure with
garlic.
my taste buds.
With your what? Taste buds?
But if it's,
That's good. That's a good one too.
but I mean, if it's not cooked, you can't measure with your taste buds, right?
Well,
Right.
my mental taste buds. You don't really taste
But
with
if
your
we
heart.
if we measure with our taste buds, it's always add more cheese, add more butter.
Right, exactly.
All right.
I'm such
All
a
right.
garlicaholic. I've overdosed
Same.
on garlic before, so it's possible.
Same. Okay, so or I guess just let me know when your pasta is done, and I'll wait for you before I move on to the next thing. And since we're gonna
Oh,
put it in
don't
the
wait
oven,
for
it'll
me.
be-
I've
You
been
sure?
slacking off apparently here.
Okay, I can keep going.
I think this pasta also takes a little longer to cook than Elbow Max.
Gotcha.
How often do you take the box back out of the trash or the recycling to look at the directions?
Just look at the directions.
Often.
Cook uncovered approximately 9 to 11 minutes, it says here. And I think Elbow Max are more like 6 to 7 minutes, I think.
Yeah, it was 6 to 8.
But
Yeah,
this
and
one,
it also continues to cook after you pour it and drain it. It'll
but this
still
one's
cook.
like 3 colors. So it's like spinach and tomato.
Those twirly ones take longer to cook, I think. The spiral. Okay, so I'm doing a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and an 1/8 teaspoon of black pepper. I think
And where
white
are
pepper
you
would
putting
be
that
good
in?
too. I'm just mixing these all together, and then I'm gonna stir them into my macaroni. You don't have to mix them together if you don't want to. If you want to just
Instead
put
of
them directly-
dirtying another pot, what do you think, everybody? I just put it in the baking tray.
go for it.
Why
And then
don't you taste a piece of pasta to make sure it's not overcooked or undercooked?
Now
This
it's still-
calls-
I can feel
this
it.
calls for a 1/4 teaspoon of paprika, but I think I'm gonna do half. So I think, why not? We've got paprika.
I've got some nice smoked paprika.
Yeah, I
Garlic
like
powder.
I like the smoked paprika.
I'm gonna do like a heaping 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. And then I
Oh,
have.
I quit
onion
buying
powder.
garlic powder. Now I always buy smoked garlic powder. I'm not smoked,
Ooh,
roasted.
that
garlic
sounds
powder.
good. That sounds good.
Yeah, that
I mean, it
sounds
costs like maybe $1 more, but the garlic is roasted before they dry it.
good. Wow.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, where's my? measuring thing. All right.
And
go back.
That's all for the spices. Okay.
This is, I'm not measuring this much. I need a smaller measurement. So
All right.
you're
so
just
I'm
putting
gonna
like
mix
a
these
half
in.
teaspoon of each in?
A quarter teaspoon, but I'm doing kind of heaping. I did half teaspoon of paprika and then a quarter of garlic powder, onion powder, and salt, and then an 1/8 teaspoon of pepper is what this recipe calls for.
All right.
It looks pretty good, I think.
Oh, I love
Like already
the
looks
smell of
colorful.
roasted garlic powder. I mean, let's see.
All right, and then I'm adding
I'm gonna throw in a quarter teaspoon, no, an 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne pepper.
Where
I would
does the
normally do
can,
that
where
too if
does
I
the
was
can
cooking
of
this
soup
myself.
show up?
It's about to make an appearance.
Okay.
It is about to make its appearance, its debut. If I can get this bag of shredded cheese open.
Scissors.
I got them. All right, there we go. Okay, so I'm adding 1 cup of shredded cheddar to mine. If you're not using soup, you're gonna want to add 2 cups of shredded cheddar to your
Or as much as you have.
Yeah, I mean, and I might end up adding more. I'm just gonna like see how it looks and how I feel about it. Maybe like sprinkle a little extra on the top. We'll see. So I'm just mixing this in, and then here's our Campbell's
There you
cheddar
go.
cheese soup.
Yeah.
If you're not using the soup, you're gonna end up using more milk when I put the milk in. We're just gonna, might need a spoon.
I'm starting to sweat a little bit.
Oh,
All right, let's see.
fan on. We're just gonna pop that. And it's not like nacho cheese, it's condensed cheese soup, like a condensed, you know. I
More like
guess,
a cheese
good
flavor.
cream
Yeah.
of mushroom. but-
Yeah, they thicken it up with something else. You
Yeah.
look at your
It's
ingredients.
made with cheese though. It's made with real cheese.
That's
That's
good.
the only thing.
That's a good requirement.
All right, so we're gonna mix that up.
You think I could mix everything right in my baking pan?
Yeah, you can if it's big
You
enough.
need to drain your pasta, otherwise it's gonna be
Oh, I
too
was gonna
ju-
just use this
No, it's
ladle
gonna
and
be,
just,
it's gonna be too damp. It's gonna be wet.
okay.
Did you taste it, or did you see?
Yep,
if
I
it-
did. It's
You
al
tasted
dente.
it.
All right, and then we're gonna use about a quarter cup of sour cream or plain Greek yogurt. I use the Greek yogurt just because that's what I like. But
Cool.
either way is fine. Just like,
How about
a couple
heavy
good-
cream?
I mean, you could throw some heavy cream in there. It's not gonna hurt it.
I
Okay.
bought some heavy cream, meaning to make some butter, and I keep not doing it. So I think I'll just
And
use it.
then if you used the soup, you're gonna put half a cup of milk in this. If you use,
You wanted to add your pasta back into your other pan, not the baking.
Well, I'm gonna
dish.
mix it in this one.
he's
Well,
gonna mix it in there. So if you did not use the soup and you used the 2 cups of shredded cheese, you're gonna add 1.5 cups of milk. So you're gonna add more milk to yours. And I don't know if you can all see that, but there's how it looks. It looks pretty mac and cheese like.
Oh, this
Actually, you know what?
this
I'm gonna
cheese
try it
soup
because
looks
it
like the
looks-
wrong color to eat. Look at that. No, I am just kidding. It's orange. It looks like cheddar cheese. All right, let me taste it.
All right, it's good.
So it just mildly tastes like cheddar cheese, but
and lots of salt
All right,
in
and
it too. I bet.
I'm gonna spray my pan or baking dish, whatever. I think
Guarantee you
I forgot.
there's salt in that soup.
oh yeah, salt and sugar.
there is only 38% of your daily sodium.
That's
That's
quite a
it.
bit.
Yeah.
All right, so I
38%.
got my cheese soup in there. Let's see. Half a cup. We haven't put the milk in yet. We put the
So yeah,
yogurt in, though?
I already got all my stuff in. So half a cup of milk, and then about a quarter cup of sour cream or Greek yogurt.
So you
And
add milk even if you're using the soup, you still add milk.
Just a little bit, yeah, because it's too thick otherwise. Oh, and my oven just beeped, so that's perfect. And I think the size is going to be perfect too.
All right, and some milk. Oh, I had that little can of mushrooms I wanted to put in too. That might add too much moisture. Mushrooms tend to be very wet. Okay, I'm not pouring the mushroom water in. But...
All right, so I'm gonna sprinkle a little additional layer of cheddar on top of mine.
There may be moisture coming out of your onions also.
All right, let's see. What did I not put in? Going down the list. Paprika.
You haven't put in your onions and your garlic.
Or my cheese.
And then I have plain breadcrumbs. I'm just gonna sprinkle those over the, or what do you all think? Because my recipe does not actually specify on if you're supposed to put the breadcrumbs on the end.
Sounds
do you
good. I
guys
use Japanese panko mushrooms.
Should I put the
breadcrumbs.
breadcrumbs on now, or should I wait till it's baked and like at the last 5 minutes?
I would put them on maybe at the last and put it under the boiler under low and watch
Okay,
it.
so we're
So
gonna
it
wait
doesn't-
on our breadcrumbs and Parmesan. I have this kind of Parmesan that's like grated.
Yeah,
I'll
I
put
do that at the last. Yeah.
I'll do
Well, I
that
have
stuff at the
no
end.
room for my onions now.
And,
Fan's full.
what it would be delicious would be buttered breadcrumbs.
Ooh.
Well,
And then that would just
Yeah.
add richness personally.
That's true. Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put mine in the oven. Note the wheat. We've got the Kansas theme bakeware here. And so I'm gonna set the timer for 25 minutes, or no, 20 minutes, and then I'll do the breadcrumbs, and then do another 5 with the breadcrumbs and Parmesan.
Yeah, just never walk away when the broiler is on, because that's a recipe for a disaster.
I don't even close the oven when my broiler's going.
I
I mean,
don't
I feel
either.
like I could just sit and eat this right now. Why are we baking it?
Yeah, it's already cooked.
It's gonna be even better, or just trust me.
I guess it would bake. There is a little bit of moisture still in here. I guess
Oh, it
that's the
has
milk.
to. Your pasta's going to absorb that moisture, but you're probably seeing where having it in a deeper pan would allow you to stir it more vigorously and allow everything to
Yeah,
incorporate.
that'd be
What kind
another
of pan
reason.
did
That would
I
be
missed-
another reason to have a big pot when you're cooking your pasta, because like Emily did, she put her pasta back in the same pot she boiled in, and then
And
she
it
was
made it
able
easy
to
to mix.
stir
But
vigorously
then you have
without
to
slopping
have
it
a really
around.
hard time cleaning that pot because it's all caked with cheese and you wasted all my. I got all my cheese in here. There's no waste.
It's not that
That's-
hard to clean the
that's-
pan.
Or that's why you use spatulas to scrape every last drop. I must own 10 spatulas at
Me
my.
too. I've got silicone spatulas.
There, I've got my
galore.
extra cheese bits. I'll
Oh,
just eat it.
I want to
It's
bite.
like licking
This
the
is
pot.
almost like actually now it's almost absorbed all the milk already.
So you may need to add just a little bit more, otherwise it might come out dry. Because your pasta's
me
going to keep.
I'm gonna taste it. It's al
I think
dente.
his onions added some liquid when he put his onions in there.
Oh, I put a lot of butter too. I put a whole stick of butter. That's how I
I
fry.
probably could
it.
add it a little more butter, but that's okay.
Well, the baking, I think it'll remove moisture. I don't think it'll be too dry.
Oh man, that's so tasty. Okay, you said 20
It
minutes.
looks good. Yeah.
Did you preheat your oven?
Yeah, my oven is toasted. Now I set my timer. Well,
And you're only a couple minutes behind me, so it's perfect.
Lulu and I
Now
are
what do we-
exhausted and we didn't even cook.
We're exhausted and hungry.
it's like,
This supervising's not easy.
so I have,
You and I are good at it too.
let's see. I have I'm accepting recommendations from the peanut gallery here.
The
For
recommendation
what I
is
should
start
use
using
for
your
the
big
rest of
pot.
this milk.
I don't know
What should I
that, but
make with
last week you had too small a pot and you had trouble stirring it when you were doing your chocolate. You need to get a bigger pot. Use your
That's the recommendation.
Use your 4-quart pot when you're doing pasta.
You can make pudding with your milk.
And water is cheap.
Okay, good idea.
You got
Um,
rice.
You can also freeze it and cook with it later if you're not going to use it.
That's true. But I want
Okay,
to,
I'm putting my
have,
onion and garlic skins in my freezer bag, by the way, for stock
Oh,
later.
very good.
so I
Good
actually
job.
have 9 of these, 9.5 gallons. So I need, so
Need to
I
use it.
will freeze most of them or make cheese.
Ooh.
You make cheese
Yeah.
from whole milk?
So earlier this year, I did a test to see how long I could wait past the sell-by date
Uh-huh.
before I made cheese. And I put 4 gallons in the big refrigerator in the garage. And I did one at 1 month, one at 6 weeks, one at 8 weeks, and then I did one at 3 months. The one at 3 months, I went in there and I don't know, a couple weeks, I was like, let me stretch. I actually had to open it up because it had puffed out. I was just like, but I didn't have time. So I let it go another week. And so it went to 3 months. And then I just got the milk. I poured it and I slowly heated it in my pan. And to make farmstead cheese, 190 degrees. I slowly heated it up and I put a half a teaspoon of lemon. It curded and there was no sourness to it at all. 3 months past the due date.
Now, had
Of
it
course, it was
spoiled,
puffed up.
what, was it lumpy or
Nope.
had it spoiled?
Oh, the milk in it?
The-
The
the
milk in it had started.
That's why it
There goes
puffed
my
up,
camera.
because there was action going on in the milk.
Did it smell sour?
It did. It definitely smelled sour.
And you still used
Yeah.
it and it tasted good?
Awesome.
Here we go. The camera's back operational. So like the reason I got 9 quarts is the sell by date a couple days ago. So they basically gave them all to me. My local.
By the way, that's a half a gallon.
Oh, yeah. I have 9 half gallons. Yeah.
So
Which is 1 milk crate. It was just like 1 milk crate from they call me up and they know I do charity cooking. And so.
okay.
You need to put yourself on the chef or to do the cheese. I'm very interested in that.
If you go to leaveittochef.com, I have a recipe and a video on there. It's like, I want to say it's less than a 10-minute video.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool.
And so, but yeah, it's my mom's been doing that. We grew up with goats and we would have an overabundance of cheese during certain times of the year. So what other recommendations? So you said pudding. How would I make pudding?
You can just take white rice and put it in milk and cook it down and it'll thicken on its own. you know,
So
add,
I have some parboiled rice, which means it's already pre-cooked. I could just make some rice pudding really
you
easily.
can add vanilla, sugar, adapt to salt,
Cinnamon.
cinnamon, nutmeg, whatever flavors you like.
Oh, Emily, do we want to have it be the fancy cooking show where we pause the video, where then you're like, look, 20 minutes later, we take it out of the oven, or do we want to keep chatting?
Oh, we can keep chatting. It's whatever you
The
think.
point of our show is we show the real stuff.
Whatever you think, I'll go with
Let's
it.
see. Can anybody, I mean, nowadays they have like these really good quality vegan cheeses. I bet you could even make a vegan version. You said you used almond milk instead of regular milk.
I did, just because we don't buy milk. And yeah, I think you could. Let me see if my sister has an idea of that. Hey, Allison.
The problem is, like, if someone's vegan,
do you have
almost-
an idea of what kind of vegan cheese would be good that melts, that would be good to make mac and cheese as a vegan alternative?
I know I've had a good vegan
Just
mozzarella.
in general, looking for
So the
ideas.
pizza place that I go to uses Daya.
She said Daya.
That's what Mod Pizza uses, but they also have a 700-degree oven.
Oh,
I found that if you look next to the tofu, there's like cheese that's potato based, and that actually melts better and like has less artificial flavoring.
so potato-based cheese near the tofu in the grocery store
But like
melts.
the
well.
Esso brand or Daya, it will melt. You just have to get it a lot hotter. And if you like throw your oven to broil for like 3 minutes, it should
It does it.
melt.
She said you have to have hotter temperatures to melt it, but that if you broil it at the end, it should do pretty well.
So I grew up, we would make vegan pizzas, and our cheese sauce was something called nutritional yeast.
Yeah.
So
I've
you
heard
would
of that.
basically just get oil, just basically like we did with the onions and the garlic. And instead of butter, of course, to make it vegan, you would do oil. And then you would add slowly some flour and some nutritional yeast. And basically thicken it up until you have a real thick gravy. And nutritional yeast, let's see, do I have some readily available? Yeah, I still to this day like nutritional yeast as a seasoning. So you can buy it. So you can buy it as a seasoning,
over
but you can also buy it in quantity. And so we would basically make an onion garlic nutritional yeast flavored gravy that would look like cheese sauce. And it has like nutritional yeast has a cheesy, nutty flavor.
It does. That's
Now
right.
the
I've heard
secret
that,
is
yeah.
make sure you put plenty of oil because you want to have that richness of cheese.
Yeah.
So make sure you have lots of oil and then you add the flour, you know, basically. Now don't, like when you make a traditional brown gravy, you end up burning the flour. You don't want to burn the flour. You want to make like, just slowly add in the flour so it ends up still being like white with the yellow tint of the nutritional yeast. Otherwise, you know,
I put it on popcorn.
the nutritional yeast. Yeah, so we used to make awesome pizzas. We just make fresh dough, chopped up veggies, and then you'd make that nutritional yeast cheese and then also mozzarella on it. And those pizzas, we'd make just a baking tray, a big square, and each person would get a pizza, you know, a square pizza about yay big.
By the way,
Nice.
the Daya cheese that was mentioned, the Daya vegan cheese is based on tapioca starch.
Oh, okay. Tapioca.
Oh yeah, so tapioca.
I was kind of
We've made
curious.
tapioca
what
with
it was.
before. So another thing, we, instead of making fresh cheese, when we had lots of milk, fresh yogurt. Get your live yogurt, bring up your milk to rape it below boiling, and then you want to let it cool back down I'll have to look it up. I want to say it's 160 degrees. You mix in your live yogurt in there, because if it's too hot, it will kill the bacteria in the yogurt.
Yeah, exactly.
You let it cool down, and then we put it in quart jars, wrapped with towels in a cooler. And so it'll stay warm in there like overnight. And the next day you'll have like nice yogurt set up. Or in the winter, we would put it above the wood stove, or, you know, where it's warmer above your stove, so it stays at a nice warm temperature.
You can
for like
also
a period.
use your Instapot to make yogurt, because
Yeah.
it'll keep
So
the
I'm gonna,
temperature
like,
steady.
I bought 1 container of yogurt, but I eat like probably a thing of yogurt a week. So I'm gonna just make this yogurt stretched out with my half gallon of milk.
Yeah.
How
good
much
idea.
does, you know, how much does a thing of yogurt cost?
Like
Probably
$5.
twice what milk costs.
Yeah.
And it takes very few amount of time to make the yogurt. So right now I'm slowly warming up this milk, very slowly, lowest temperature possible, because otherwise you get that milk film on the top, or you get burnt on the bottom.
Yeah.
But no matter how much I slowly heat it up, I always get a little bit of milk film on the pot. And so how I clean it is I will cook something in that pot, and it takes the cheese off the edges, and then whatever you're cooking. So I have more pasta. So if I made fresh cheese, I would make the cheese, and then with the whey left over, I would cook some more pasta or some more rice. But I really liked your idea of making pudding. So I think I want to flavor this milk.
You could even put raisins in there, or almonds.
Nuts. Yeah.
Who you calling nuts? Let's see. But I think I'll just do regular rice. It's harder to cook regular rice with milk because milk tends to burn. But let me just grab some.
Yeah, plus the regular rice has got starch, so it'll help thicken it up.
All right, I went ahead and gave myself another dish to wash. I mixed my breadcrumbs and
That's your topping.
Oh, I need to get
Parmesan,
my
yep,
Parmesan.
and I added some more garlic powder just for fun. Because you know we're in a pandemic, it's not like I'm gonna be out kissing anybody in the streets. So don't need to worry about that.
I forgot to use that heavy cream.
No, well, you didn't have space in your pan anyway.
That's true. Have you ever, you buy a thing of heavy whipping cream and you can just whip it into butter. And so I had that before, and I was just like, oh, fresh butter is so good.
When I was a kid, when I was a kid, my grandmother's sister had a farm, and they used to churn. And when we were kids, we loved churning the cream into butter. That was so much fun when we were kids.
So I always had goats, and it's harder. You have to actually run it through a cream separator, because goat, I don't know, the molecules of goat, it's harder to break free. I'm told. So like people who are lactose intolerant, the majority of them can actually drink goat's milk, because
I've heard that.
somehow the fat and the holds the
It's cow's
lactose.
milk is an issue.
So yeah, I got some nice Parmesan here. It was clumping a little bit.
Yeah, I have some like that too.
I actually have some like chunks, but I absolutely hate grating it. Like ever since I've got chunks, and when you grate it, I was just like, I rarely ask the waiter at the restaurant to grate me some, because I was just like, man, this is just so much work.
You just get yourself a narrow microplane. It's about 1 inch wide, and you just grate it right off of the chunk, and it works like.
Oh yeah. But I
Looks
mean,
like a chunk.
again, I'm saying I'm lazy that I never grate enough.
Gotcha. Yeah.
All right, so so what do you think I should add to this milk? I got the milk is slow simmer and I'm gonna add my rice to it. But like what flavors?
Cinnamon.
Yeah, I
Like
tend to
Lulu
like,
said, vanilla.
I can't
I don't
hear
know.
you.
Whenever I open a thing of milk, I always tend to like just want to use it pretty regularly. Because I don't really drink milk. So I tend to just try to like, if I open it, try to figure out a way to use it right away. Because then I'll forget it and it'll go bad in the back. So, all right. Rice in there. A lot of times when I'm making things that are sweet, I like to use Garam Masala. What's in Garam Masala? It's a spice mix. So it's cardamom, cinnamon, cloves, cumin, black pepper, and coriander. So really the only thing that's, I don't know, you don't tend to think of black pepper in sweet things. But I like that. I call this the real pumpkin spice.
Yeah, so it
Like
makes it, yeah, it's just making it savory.
So it's like,
Rather than
yeah, I
sweet.
mean, it's, of course, I need to add how much sugar to that, a whole bunch. So, oh yeah, I guess I got my rice here. Looks like, according to my timer, we've got 3 minutes for my oven to pop.
I've got just a little over 1 minute on mine.
Then you're gonna go to the broiler though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
My oven doesn't technically, mine's gas, so I don't think it has a broiler.
Yeah, down in the lower bottom. Should.
Oh yeah, it does. But it's so hard. Like I hate baking because I always want to watch the food cook. It's just like I almost went to reach down and open the oven to look at it. I was just like, only 2 more minutes.
That's why you have a window in your oven door, or I do, so I can look and see what's going on.
Let's see. Let's turn this light on.
All right, so let's see. How much sugar do you think I need to add to this pot of?
Depends on how sweet you want it, I guess.
It's like,
You don't like things very sweet. I would probably, well, how many cups of rice are you making?
2.
How much raw rice are you using?
I mean, it was about 2 cups is a bag. So let's see. 16. It's a pound of rice. So let's see. Bag is.
So are you gonna have enough moisture? How many you got? What? You have 8 cups of milk?
Yeah, I mean it'll suck it up. So.
I would do at least a half a cup of sugar personally, but I like things.
All right, guys, here comes the mac and cheese.
Wow, look at that.
Ooh, ah.
Ooh, ah.
Shut that back up. And now I'm adding my topping very carefully. It's bubbling. It smells good.
How stiff is the surface of yours?
How stiff is it? It's not very stiff. It's pretty soft.
Probably, if you let it set after you cook it, it probably pulls together. I don't know. So.
Yeah, probably.
All right. I got about 20 seconds, 30 seconds before my alarm goes off. I'm getting nervous here. Let me get my.
All right, and my family really likes Parmesan, so I think I'm just gonna add a little more Parmesan to mine. So it's more of a Parmesan crust on top.
Or you could serve it with the Parmesan on the side to add after you dish it up too.
That's true.
All right, I put it on this cutting board so I can hold it up to the camera so you can see it. I might have put too much butter because the edges are like frying or bubbling butter. So,
Oh, yeah,
but
looks
Can
good.
you open that?
I forgot to
gonna put
get
it here.
breadcrumbs.
Okay.
What's the green stuff in there?
Oh, that's the rotini. The rotini has.
Oh, I see, it was colored. I get it, yeah. Different colors.
green for
Yeah.
spinach flavored and
Yeah.
red is tomato.
I get it, yeah, I forgot.
So we're just putting the Parmesan and then back in to broil it.
Yeah,
And watch it the whole time.
yeah, I will. I've got my light on. Move this towel out of the way.
So
You
what do you
can
think?
maybe
Just like
open you could even open the door a little bit. There you go.
Parmesan.
That way when it burns and you see the smoke coming out, you know you've left it in too long.
Right. Oh, it looks really good.
Or you may want to stir your rice so it doesn't get scalded on the bottom with not a spoon.
Not a teaspoon, or
You guys,
Use your wide
you
paddle.
got that little pee spoon. I don't know what that's all about. But
you got like a zillion.
well, use
One's over
one of
here.
them. Use
Yeah.
something that's big. There you go.
There
Which one?
Either one.
The
Just
curved edge or the scoopy edge?
whatever.
curve-
Just
but either
scrape the
one.
bottom. Just scrape the bottom so make sure it's not sticking.
Give you guys a sneak peek. Can you see
Yeah.
it? You might not be able to. No, I don't think you can see. The lighting doesn't work on the camera. It looks bubbly and it's starting to brown around the edges.
I almost forgot to set the timer for that. I'm gonna set it to 3 minutes.
Is that for your mac and cheese?
Yeah, mac and cheese.
Better keep your eye on it because 3 minutes could be too long. Gotta watch it.
All right, where's the sugar? Sugar. Here's a whole bunch.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn my timer off and just watch it.
Yeah. I found out my broiler, I have electric because my place is all electric, has a low and high setting on the broiler.
Ours does
Just
too.
kinda-
I've got mine on high.
I had mine on low because I had, last night I had mahi that had, had sour cream on it and then panko breadcrumbs on top. So I was just trying to brown.
All right.
the breadcrumbs.
Got some sugar in the. Oh yeah, let me find some raisins to add to this. But I don't know. I like adding raisins like right towards the end of it, so they tend to be more chewy instead of cooked.
Or currants if you happen to have some.
Okay, I think this is good. Let's see. Let me put my camera back down to the counter.
Right. Save my essential spoon that nobody likes. Just like
All right, can y'all see it?
Oh, look at that. Yeah. Good job.
Smells so good. Got a nice little crisp top on the
Nice.
top.
mine's all melted but not crisp. So
All right, and I'm gonna let it sit for a few minutes before I
Yeah, let
dig
it
into
rest.
it.
you think? Do you think it's? I think it's one of those things. Like it seems like pasta. Period. The longer you let it set, the better it tastes.
Oh yeah.
Well, it absorbs more flavors the longer it sits around.
So
Coconut would be like super hot right now. I'll put it right now.
all right, my rice milk is slow simmering. I should have just used the parboiled rice, but the parboiled rice, I don't know. I don't like it as well. It cooks really quickly, but I don't like the texture as much. So, all right. So we have anything final to say, Emily? Besides, let's eat.
Yeah, bon provecho, bon appetit. Gonna get my oven
So
off.
what do you eat this with to balance like the healthiness of this?
So my family tonight is making, my dad is grilling steak, and we actually are doing fried green tomatoes that we
Wow.
prepped before this, that were my sister and I prepped before this that she grew in her garden. So we're gonna fry these up. We have steak on the grill and mac and cheese, and that's what we're doing. But I'm gonna try sneak a little bite of it. I love the mac and cheese. So I wanna
Usually
try
when
it.
I make mac and cheese, I really like balancing it off with I just forgot what it's called when you have like tomato and some basil with balsamic vinegar on it.
Like a caprese salad.
There you go, caprese. But then I,
Oh,
you know, I don't
caprese,
add the
yeah.
cheese because we already got the cheese in the mac. Now how about that? Does anybody ever make macaroni and cheese where they add tomatoes or salsa in it?
No.
I never
No?
heard of that. I guess you could.
Oh yeah, I know a lot of people who do that. They add either fresh cut tomatoes and chilies in it, like fresh, or you just put a can of salsa in it and mix it in.
I've done rotel. I've never done salsa, but I've done rotel.
Yeah.
How is it? Is it
Really
good?
good.
I could see maybe serving
It's
up
very
the
garlicky.
mac and cheese with a little salsa on the side.
Wow. Maybe ketchup.
Or that'd probably be good if you had some hot, you know, the hot macaroni and cheese, and then you served it with a side of cold sauce. I keep opening the oven.
Well, it's not going to brown on top is the broiler going, or are you just putting it in the oven?
No, I mean, I'm tired of.
Yeah.
It was
You
on
have to-
broil, but it was not broiling too well. But
Well, that's better than too little is better than too much.
all right,
Looks good.
All right. Yeah, I think
My
this is a
goodness.
success.
look at that.
I'll be right over.
I might have made too
Mm.
much,
Oh darn.
but
All the neighbors.
I
Right.
do have an 8 and 10-year-old nephew that I think would absolutely love macaroni and cheese.
Bet they would.
Definitely.
But it
For sure.
is kind of gooey still.
It might
thought
need
it'd
to be baked a little bit longer, just straight up baked.
In the center, smoke alarm went off.
I'm
Kind
gonna
of,
set mine back in the oven just to stay warm.
I don't
I
have-
think I think you poured the onions in there, it really upped the moisture in there.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not actually. I mean, it's pretty stiff in the center, but the edges are still a little gooey.
Yeah, well, it's not like it's egg or something, so it's not like it's not cooked. So you don't have to worry. Well,
Oh,
if you,
perfect. Hey, Fred.
hi there.
You see, I can't hear you. Someone can hear.
She can't hear you.
Yeah.
But he said hi there.
Okay, good. I don't want to.
I've got my.
Yeah.
Something.
What's he at? LA back home?
Mhm.
I posted for the few people that may be interested, I posted tonight's foodie film thing
I've
in
seen
the
it
chat.
for a long time. So it's not or and it's not.
Kind of an interesting movie tonight called Night on Earth.
Here, let's wrap up this recording. Any final thoughts, Emily?
Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all get to make mac and cheese real soon.
It was
And
fun.
thank you for having me buy canned cheese soup.
You are so welcome. It's always fun to have first experiences.
A
with
first
food.
try.
Thanks, Emily. It looks really delicious.
Thanks, Maya.
Just like,
very appetizing.
I can't see how it couldn't be really delicious. It's just cheese and more cheese. I wonder if we could just take the macaroni out and what would people think of that?
Be cheese and cheese.
More cheese
It
and more
just like-
cheese, please.